All right, so are you ready to become like a total morning person? But just the thought of like dragging yourself out of bed before the sun's even up makes you want to just like stay asleep forever?
Yeah,
Well, don't worry because we've got you.
totally.
We're diving into this guide, how to wake up at 5 a.m. every day without feeling tired.
Hmm?
And I have to say, it's got some seriously cool stuff to help you conquer those super early mornings.
Hmm.
You know what really surprised me? It's not just about like chugging coffee the second you open your eyes.
Right.
This guide's all about like the real magic happening the night before.
Exactly. It's all about creating a really solid foundation for restful sleep. Think of it like you're prepping for a marathon. You wouldn't just show up on race day without any training, right?
No way.
Same goes for waking up early. You got to set up the right conditions first.
Okay, so let's break down this whole shutdown ritual thing.
Yeah.
The guide keeps mentioning it. It sounds kind of intense.
Well, actually, it's more about being mindful and intentional about how you wind down. Our bodies have these incredible internal clocks called circadian rhythms, and they govern our sleep-wake cycles. When we stick to a consistent sleep schedule, we're working with our bodies, not against them.
That makes sense.
And that leads to deeper, more restorative sleep.
So what are some specific things we can do to like signal to our brains that it's time to power down? The guide mentions things like stretching and reading, right?
Yep, those are great options, but it can be as simple as just dimming the lights an hour or two before bed. That's because bright light, especially the blue light coming from our phones and laptops, it actually suppresses the production of melatonin. That's the hormone that tells our bodies it's time for sleep.
Huh. That explains why scrolling through social media before bed never seems to make me sleepy. Less scrolling, more stretching. Got it. I also love this idea of a reverse alarm. It's like setting an alarm to remind you to actually start getting ready for bed.
I love that.
It's like giving yourself permission to just unplug and unwind.
Exactly. It's a gentle nudge to actually prioritize sleep, which, in our super busy go-go-go society can sometimes feel like a radical act.
So true.
It can be really helpful to create a specific routine that signals to your brain that it's time to relax. Maybe it's a hot bath, some calming music, or reading a book. Whatever helps you de-stress and transition into sleep mode.
Okay, so we've got the night routine down pat.
Yeah.
What's next on this journey to becoming a total morning person?
Now for the really cool stuff. Remember those sleep cycles we talked about?
Uh-huh.
Well, step 2 is all about hacking those cycles to wake up feeling refreshed and ready to go. It's called the 90-minute sleep cycle hack.
Okay, I am so ready for this. Lay it on me.
So we don't just sleep in one long continuous block throughout the night. We cycle through different stages of sleep: light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep where we dream.
Right.
Each cycle lasts roughly 90 minutes. The key is to wake up during a light sleep phase, because that's when we're closest to being awake naturally.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Waking up in the middle of a deep sleep cycle is probably why I feel like a zombie half the time.
Exactly. It's like being ripped out of dreamland before you're ready. So instead of aiming for the standard 8 hours of sleep, which might leave you waking up mid-cycle, the guide suggests aiming for 6 or 7.5 hours, which are multiples of 90 minutes.
So how do we figure out the perfect timing for these 90-minute cycles? Do we have to set like a ton of alarms throughout the night?
There's a way easier way: sleep calculator apps. The guide recommends using one like Sleep Cycle. They actually track your sleep patterns and use algorithms to gently wake you up during your lightest sleep phase within a window you set. It's like having a personal sleep concierge.
Wow, technology to the rescue of our sleep-deprived souls. All right, so we've prepped for a good night's sleep. We've got our sleep cycles figured out, but then comes the moment of truth, the alarm clock going off in the dark. And, we all know how tempting that snooze button can be. What does the guide suggest for overcoming that snooze button siren song?
Well, the guide recommends outsmarting your inner snooze monster with a few clever tricks. One classic tactic is putting your alarm clock across the room. That way you physically have to get out of bed to turn it off,
Yeah.
which makes it much harder to crawl back under the covers.
Ugh, yeah, that's always been my downfall. The call of the warm blankets is just too strong.
Another interesting tip is using an alarm that gradually increases in volume. That way you're not jolted awake by a sudden jarring sound, which can leave you feeling groggy and disoriented.
Right.
Instead, you're gently eased into wakefulness. It can make a surprising difference in how you feel.
Okay, that's a total game changer. I hate that heart-stopping feeling when my alarm goes off. A gentler wake-up call sounds so much better.
And here's where things get even more interesting. The guide suggests tapping into the power of the 5-second rule. Ever heard of it?
I have, but I always thought it applied to like food that you drop on the floor.
Well, it can actually apply to a lot more than that. It's all about taking immediate action before your brain has time to talk you out of it. So when your alarm goes off, Count down from 5 and then just get up.
Oh, wow.
No overthinking it, no negotiating with your sleepy self. Just move.
So you're basically cutting off your brain's ability to come up with excuses to stay in bed.
Precisely. It's
Yeah.
like short-circuiting that voice in your head that says, just 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
It's all about overcoming that inertia, that resistance to change.
Now that we've tackled the snooze button, what's next?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've like officially conquered the snooze button. We're actually out of bed. Now, how do we go from feeling like we just crawled out of a cave to actually like energized and ready to take on the day?
Well, that's where step 4 comes in. It's called flood your brain with energy. And this part is all about those first few minutes after you wake up and how they can totally set the tone for your whole day.
Okay, so we're talking about sending those wake-up signals to our brains, right? Like, what's the best way to actually do that?
Well, one of the most powerful tools we have is light, exposure to bright light, especially natural sunlight. It's like a jolt of energy to your brain. It suppresses melatonin production and boosts serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that's super important for mood and alertness.
So even if it's still kind of dark outside, we should like throw open the curtains or maybe use one of those daylight lamps.
Exactly. Mimicking that sunshine can make a huge difference in how you feel. Another quick win is just drinking a glass of cold water first thing in the morning. Not only does it rehydrate you after a night's sleep, but it also kickstarts your metabolism and can help you feel more alert.
I've heard that drinking cold water in the morning can also help boost your immune system. Is there any truth to that?
There's some evidence that cold water exposure can stimulate the lymphatic system, which is involved in immunity, but more research is definitely needed to confirm those benefits. Either way, staying hydrated is always a good idea.
Right, especially first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got light and water. What else can we do to flood our brains with energy? The guy had mentioned something about exercise, right?
Yes. Even a few minutes of exercise can make a world of difference. Something as simple as jumping jacks, push-ups, or a quick yoga flow can get your blood flowing, oxygenate your brain, and boost your energy levels.
I'll admit I'm not really a morning workout person,
Yeah.
but I am willing to try anything that'll help me feel more awake.
Yeah.
Any tips for actually getting motivated to move first thing?
Yeah, find something you actually enjoy. You know, if you hate running, don't force yourself to go for a jog. Maybe put on some music and dance around your living room or take a brisk walk outside. The key is to find something that gets you moving and feels good.
Okay, I can totally get behind that. Make it fun, not a chore. Now, this next tip in the guide kind of surprised me. It says to delay that morning coffee for at least an hour after waking up.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't coffee supposed to be the ultimate wake-up drink?
It seems counterintuitive, right? But there's some cool science behind it. Our bodies naturally produce cortisol in the morning, which is a hormone that's involved in alertness and energy. It's all part of our natural wake-up cycle.
So we're already getting a natural energy boost from cortisol.
Exactly. And if we introduce caffeine too early, it can actually mess with that natural cortisol production and lead to energy crashes later on.
So we're basically messing with our body's natural rhythm by reaching for coffee first thing.
Yeah, in a way, by delaying your caffeine intake, you're allowing your body to wake up naturally, and then you can use caffeine strategically to boost your energy when you need it most.
This is blowing my mind. I never realized how much strategy went into just waking up. Okay, so we've prepped for a good night's sleep. We've outsmarted our snooze buttons. We've flooded our brains with energy. What's the final piece of the puzzle for really creating an awesome morning routine?
It's all about finding ways to actually make your mornings enjoyable and something you look forward to. That's where step 5 comes in. Create a morning ritual you actually enjoy.
Okay, I am so here for making mornings more enjoyable. Sign me up.
Yeah, it's a total game changer. Instead of dreading that alarm clock, you start seeing mornings as an opportunity to set the tone for a productive and really fulfilling day.
So how do we transform our mornings from a time of dread into a time of delight? What kind of activities does the guide suggest incorporating into our routines?
Think about things that bring you joy and make you feel good. Maybe it's listening to your favorite music or a podcast, sipping tea while reading a book, or having a delicious breakfast.
Oh yeah, those all sound so good.
Yeah.
I know, I always feel better when I take a few minutes to enjoy a cup of coffee and read the news before I actually jump into work.
Exactly. It's about creating a sense of peace and being intentional before the day gets crazy. Another really powerful practice the guide recommends is writing down your top goal for the day first thing in the morning.
I love that idea. It's like setting an intention and giving yourself a purpose right from the start.
It's all about aligning your actions with your goals and priorities. By taking a few minutes to focus on what you want to accomplish, you're priming your mind for productivity and action.
So we've got our enjoyable activities and our top goal for the day. Is there anything else we can do to make sure these new morning habits actually stick?
The guide talks about a really cool strategy called habit stacking.
Habit stacking.
What is that? It's basically attaching a new habit you want to build to an existing habit you already do consistently. Like you could say, after I brush my teeth, I'll meditate for 5 minutes, or while my coffee's brewing, I'll write down 3 things I'm grateful for.
So you're using an existing habit to make it easier to stick with a new one.
Exactly. And the last little tip for creating a smoother morning is prepping the night before. Like lay out your clothes, pack your lunch, gather anything you need for work or school.
It sounds so simple,
Yeah.
but I can see how those little things can make a huge difference. By taking care of those tasks the night before, you're freeing up mental space and time in the morning so you can focus on enjoying your routine.
Exactly. It's all about setting yourself up for success.
Yeah.
And speaking of success, the guide also includes a section on bonus hacks for supercharged mornings. These are some extra strategies you can try to really take your mornings to the next level.
Bonus hacks. I'm intrigued. Let's hear about them. All right, give me the scoop. What are these bonus hacks that'll transform my mornings from just okay to totally awesome?
Well, one that's been getting super popular lately is cold showers.
Hmm.
I know it might not sound like the most fun way to start your day, but there's actually a method to the madness.
A cold shower first thing in the morning? I'm not sure I'm that brave. What's the supposed benefit?
People who love cold showers say they make you more alert, improve circulation, and even boost your mood. Some even say it helps their immune system.
Interesting. I have heard about those potential benefits,
Mhm.
but I've always been a hot shower kind of person. Maybe I'll try easing myself in with a lukewarm shower and slowly turn down the temperature. Baby steps. What other bonus hacks does the guide recommend?
Another powerful practice is morning meditation. Even a few minutes of quieting your mind and focusing on your breath can have a big impact on your whole day. It can help reduce stress, improve focus, and set a calm and positive tone for the hours ahead.
I've been wanting to try meditation for a while now, but I get kind of overwhelmed by all the different types.
Mhm.
Any suggestions for a beginner like me?
There are a ton of great resources out there, like guided meditation apps and online courses. You could also start with something really simple, like just focusing on your breath for a few minutes each morning. The key is to find a practice that feels comfortable and enjoyable for you. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Even a few minutes of mindful breathing can make a difference.
Okay, I can do that. Just breathe and be present.
Got it.
What's the last bonus hack?
This one's a little more on the techie side. It's called binaural beats.
Binaural beats, I've heard of them, but I don't really get what they are.
So binaural beats are like these auditory illusions. They're created by playing slightly different frequencies in each ear, and your brain perceives these differences as a single tone. And this can do some pretty interesting things to your brainwave activity.
Okay.
Some people use them to relax, focus, or even fall asleep.
It's like a sonic brain massage.
Yeah, exactly. It's like using sound to kind of shift your brain into a different state. There are a lot of apps and websites that offer binaural beats for all sorts of things, so you can play around and see what works for you.
That's so cool. I'm definitely going to check that out. So we've covered a lot in this deep dive. We talked about the importance of a consistent night routine, the power of working with our natural sleep cycles, and ways to beat that snooze button.
Yeah.
Oh, and we can't forget those awesome tips for energizing our brains first thing in the morning.
Right. And those bonus hacks to really take our mornings to the next level, like cold showers, meditation, and binaural beats.
It's amazing how much thought and strategy goes into something as basic as waking up.
It really is. But the biggest takeaway from all of this, and the guide emphasizes this throughout, is consistency. It's not about trying every single hack all at once. It's about finding what works for you and actually sticking with it. So true. It's all about creating those healthy habits that will make you feel your best. So as you start this journey of becoming an early morning person, remember to be patient with yourself and experiment and just celebrate every win, no matter how small.
And remember, the most important question is, now that you have all these tools to wake up feeling energized at 5 a.m., what are you going to do with all that extra time?
Exactly. What will you create, experience, and achieve with those precious morning hours? We can't wait to hear all about your amazing transformations.